Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're going to hope that Phistomefel, and none other than Phistomefel, takes us into a near wild heaven today with his brand new puzzle Creepy Crawly, which is what we've got on screen. Now, as usual, I've got no idea why this is called Creepy Crawly. I'm slightly scared, though, that we've got some algebra to do today, because we seem to have X's, 2 Y's, 2 X's. Oh, lots of 2x's. Yeah, so there's definitely something strange about this grid, which I think is a killer Sudoku apart from the algebra. And it might be called Creepy Crawly. If I highlight all the cages, would I get something that looked like a Creepy Crawly? I might do. Let's just quickly have a look at that and see whether we understand. It certainly feels like it might be does that look like a Creepy Crawly? Wow! Not to me, it looks like a whole sea of green. I don't know. Someone will have to explain. Maybe Phistomefel will explain. Anyway, we'll see about this in a minute. It's got a fantastic rating already on Logic Masters Germany. I think it only came out yesterday. And loads of people, including people you'll have heard of, great constructors and solvers, are eulogising about this puzzle. So it's going to be, hopefully, heavenly. Now, what have I got to tell you about before we kick off today? I will start with some birthdays. Aya, you've turned 30 today, and I know this because we had a nice email from your partner, Ivan. It could be Ivan, it could be Ivan. I never know whether it's Ivan or Ivan. If there is any doubt about pronunciations, please do tell me, because I don't like to get it wrong. Now, next we've got a young birthday today. Now, David, I think you've turned 3. Your father, Kyla, wrote to us and talked about the fact that you turned the second prime number it's possible to be. Now, I'm never sure. I don't think 1 is prime, so I think you're 3 today. And I know you enjoy colouring puzzles and are learning about the number puzzles, and that is just fantastic. And I understand also, I'm somewhat jealous about this, your cake today is going to be vanilla oat cake with maple frosting and chocolate chips. Good grief. Well, David, enjoy that. And we're absolutely delighted you're part of the Cracking the Cryptic Club. I can tell you that for nothing. Now, Judith, your dad Mark wrote to us and told us that you have turned the most useless 5-cell little killer clue. Now, those of you who followed the channel for a while will know that a little killer clue is a diagonal clue pointing outside the grid. Now, I'm guessing the most useless 5-cell little killer clue I can think of would be a 25 clue, because the average Sudoku digit is a 5. So 5 cells that averaged 5 each would be a 25. So I think, Judith, you've turned 25 today. I hope I haven't got that wrong. And I believe that you're having chocolate cake this evening. So lucky you. And next, Rob, you've turned 7 squared today, 49. I know this because your girlfriend Katie wrote to us and described you as an amazing person who deserves all the love and chocolate cake we can give you. That's a lot of chocolate cake. Anyway, Rob, I hope you have a brilliant birthday. And then Susanna, you've turned 24 today, and we had a lovely email from your mum, Helen. I think you've just finished your maths masters at Southampton, and I can tell you your parents are both very proud of you. Your dad, Stephen, also loves watching Cracking the Cryptic, so family affair. And Susanna, happy 24th birthday. Fantastic stuff. Now, next, what can I tell you about? Loads of stuff going on Patreon. Panthera, TheAsylum Montinox's. Let me find it. Alice's Adventures in Sudokuland. It went live yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock. As is his way, Jonathan J.H. Harsh speeded through in a little under 4 hours, solved all 12 of the puzzles. And we've actually had about 30 or 40 people already who have solved all 12, which is phenomenal solving. And the most common adjective is captivating. People are loving this hunt. I think they like the poetry, because there is a poem with each puzzle. They like the puzzles. These are all Japanese sum puzzles, which are the cool puzzles where you get a picture at the end. And yeah, it's just great to hear. So very well done to those of you who solved it already. You only need to solve 3 of the puzzles to enter the competition, though, so do have a crack if you haven't tried already. And then I've got more names for you for solvers of February's hunt. All these people solved the entirety of Glum Hippo's fossil hunt. So well done to George White, Corentin Evans, it could be Evans as well, Corentin Evans or Evans, Joe Parle, Alex Wahoo, Dice Cup Merlin, and Dog Merlin as well, who I think might have had a birthday. Anyway, there's a lot of Merlins going on in that household. Rasmus Loge, Clayton Newman, Mark Richardson, Zach Burns, Johan Asplund, Monica Reese, Brody Appleby and Yasmin Stewart, VJ Tocco, Shui Wu, Daniel Abrams and Robert Dahlstrom. You all sent in the correct entries. Congratulations. Now, this is when I get excited. It's always a great day for me when there is a new Phistomefel puzzle to do. So let's see what Creepy Crawly has got in store for us. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. The digits within a cage cannot repeat and must sum to the small clue in the cage's top left corner. So that 29 cage there is made up of 5 cells that sum to 29. But what we couldn't do is something like that, because although these 6s don't seem to see each other under normal Sudoku rules, they don't share the same column or row or box, they are in the same cage, and that is not allowed. So don't do that. And then it says the numbers x and y have to be determined by the solver. So we've got to work out how the maths works. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I mean, I'm just scanning quickly to see whether I can see anything in the sort of bottom right corner of the grid. I'm not seeing anything terribly interesting there. I mean, there are only 2 ways of making 15 in 2 cells. It's either going to be 6, 9 or 7, 8, and there are only 2 ways of making 5 in 2 cells. It's either going to be 1, 4 or 2, 3. There's only 2 ways of making 6 in 2 cells. But I suspect that what we're doing here is having to work out what on earth is going on in the algebra. So we've got x's, we've got, oh I see, so in the top we've got 2 cages that sum to x, and in the sides, look, in column 1 and 3 we've got 2 cages that sum to y, and then 2x appears there but 2y appears here. So there's a lot of symmetry. And what can we say about x and y straight away? Neither x nor y can be massive. We can say that fairly quickly, because to have a cage that's capable of summing to 2x, if x was 13, that wouldn't work, because 13 times 2 is 26, and I can't make that cage sum to 26, because the most I could put in it would be a 7, 8 and a 9. So I think x caps out, and therefore y caps out, because there is a certain symmetry between x's and y's, at 12. And x and y have a minimum value of 6, because the minimum I could put into those 3 cells would be a 1, 2, 3 triple, and the same is true here. So right, so x and y are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12. That's still quite a lot of there's still quite a lot of options there, which is, it's not surprising, but it is slightly worrying. Now, okay, I can use the secret to tell me those 3 squares are odd, and then presumably those 3 are odd as well. Is that worth knowing? I'll just explain how I've done that. Well, the secret is something I normally tell only my favourite people, but of course, you're definitely, any Cracking the Cryptic viewer zooms to the top, the invitation list of my favourite people. That any complete row of a Sudoku, any complete column, any complete box, by the rules of Sudoku, contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. If we add up the digits 1 to 9, we get 45, which is an odd number. There is a knowledge bomb for you, as well as a secret. So that row adds to an odd number overall. But this box contains those 6 cells sum to x plus 2y, and those 6 cells sum to x plus 2y in box 3. So that means those 3 digits sum to some number. I don't know what the number is, but let's call it A. These 3 numbers, no, Z. We'll call it Z. Those 3 numbers sum to Z in order to make the box add to 45. Well, those 3 numbers also sum to Z, which means that those 6 cells sum to 2Z. And 2Z is even, because there are 2 lots of Z in it. So if 2Z is even, but the whole row sums to an odd number, those 3 digits are odd. That's how I did my odd trick. And that means that it means y is not, hang on, what does it mean? It means those 3 digits are not the same as those 3 digits is what it means. Because if those 3 digits were the same as those 3 digits, then by Sudoku now, those 3 digits would be the same digits and they would sum to 2y, and 2y is not odd, it's even. So those 3 digits are not those 3 digits, which is not very surprising. All that's saying is that we haven't got roping of 2y. 2y is not roping. But could x... I'm wondering if x can rope, because if... Right, here is a little tiny point. I've got rid of 6 as an option for x, and therefore as an option for y. Because, this is quite interesting, if x was adding up to 6, or y was adding up to 6, but let's look at x, we know that would have, there's only one way of making x, which is, no, there's only one way of making 6 in 3 cells, and that's a 1, 2, 3 triple. But that causes a 1, 2, 3 triple there. But I've proved that those 3 cells add to an odd number, and 6 is not odd, so that doesn't work. Now, the problem is that 1, 2, 4, on the other hand, I think that absolutely works, doesn't it? Because 7 is odd. So we can't use the possibility of the x's sort of... Or, yeah, we've got to be a bit careful, because there's no requirement here that the digits that make up x in there... I mean, imagine this added up to 10. That could be a 2, 3, and a 5. But this could be a 1. I'm trying to make them as difficult as I can. I suppose I can't make them all different. There will be at least one overlapping digit, because you can't make 6 different Sudoku digits add up to 20, because the triangular number for 6 is 21. So if x was 10, we would have to have a repeated digit between the 2 cages. But this is justifying how it's not necessary for there to be roping. By roping, I mean this sort of effect. If those are the same and those are the same, you could then see that these 3 digits only have one place in box. Those 3 digits could only go there in box 3, and therefore there. So you get this striping effect in the grid. Now, we've already proved that actually those 3 digits can't be the same as those 3 digits, because that's going to cause these 3 squares to be even. But I don't think we've disproved that those can rope. Indeed, they may have to rope, but But they don't need to rope, I don't think. Yeah, because I mean we just looked at it, 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, 6 there would only cause one of the digits to appear in this sequence. But we have got symmetry here. So those digits we know add to an odd number, and we know those 3 digits add up to an odd number because we can do exactly the same logic on columns 1 and 3. So maybe we can do something with this sort of flower shape in box 1. If it's better if that's odd. If that's odd, imagine this digit was odd. Let's make it a 5. I do wonder whether we're going to end up with a magic square here or something like that. But if that digit's a 5, then because we know those 3 digits overall add up to an odd number, those 2 digits have the same parity. And the same is going to be true here. Those 2 digits must have the same parity in order to ensure that those 3 are overall odd. So, oh, no, it's actually not a magic square. No, it's not. Because if I put 5 in the magic square as the central digit, then I need even numbers in the corners of a magic square, and that's going to be an odd number, and therefore it's going to be a 1, and then that's going to be a 5, and that's not going to work. You can't put 2, 4 in a magic square, so it's not a magic square, ignore me. But it is possible, if that is odd, we might have odd digits in all 4 of those positions, or, I mean, we could have 4 even digits as well. That doesn't seem to help me. Apologies, I'm now feel like I'm rambling. How do we do this then? I'm tempted to say it could be set, but I don't want to jump to set if it's not necessary to jump to set. I know these digits and these digits have the same sum. They are 2z. And I know those digits. Okay, actually, I'm going to try that instead. I'm going to make those digits A, B, and C. Now, what we've said is I've said that A, B, and C can't live in this 2y cage, because if they did, those 3 digits sum to an even number. So A, B, and C, I can't put 2 of them, therefore, in this y cage. Because if I do, if I put A and B in there, then by maths, the 3rd digit will have to equal C, because AB plus C equals 2y. So if I put A and B in there, I will also have to put C. So there's a maximum of one digit in here from A, B, and C. So that would have to be something like this, wouldn't it? I'm not actually sure this is taking me forward at all, to be honest. So that puts B and C over there by Sudoku. It puts A in one of those squares. These squares are therefore, let's just make that D, make that E, and make that F. So now, this is not right. This doesn't work at all. What have I done wrong there? I don't think I did anything wrong. But I think I've got a problem. Houston, we have alighted on a problem. Hang on a minute. Why is this not working? This doesn't work because I've not got enough spaces left in this box for where I need to put D, E, and F. Because what I can't do is make these 3 cells D, E, and F. Because if I do that, these three cells here by Sudoku are filled with D, E, F and A. They would be def, D, E, A, F. But that's not possible because D, E, A and F are all different digits, and I can't put 4 different digits into 3 different cells of a Sudoku. In the same box at least. So, or indeed, well, no. So that means I can only put a maximum of 1 of D, E and F in here, because it's the same logic as we did with the 2Y cage. If I put D and E in the X cage, the third digit will have to be F by maths to make it add up to X. But if I can only put 1 of the digits in the X cage, that implies E and F are also in these cages, or these 3 cells. But B, C, E, F are all different. And now I've really broken mathematics because I've got 4 different digits in the central row. I've done something wrong here. This doesn't work, does it? This doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? What is it I'm not understanding about this? I've done something very fundamentally wrong. Hang on. Right. Let's come back here. So A, B and C, I know they cannot go in there. Well, I can put 1 of them in, but that's it. I could put 1 of them in. Hang on, I hadn't thought of this. Have I got roping there? That's an interesting thought. Right. So how about, it doesn't work, right? We've just proved that I couldn't put any of A, B and C in here. Because if I did that, there wasn't enough space in this box for all the digits that were needed to go in there. But what about if I put A, B and C here in some order? Doesn't matter what the order is. Then I would get A, B and C over there. And now this would rope. But it ropes differently. G, H, I. Where's my I key? There. So this is G, H, I. And this is G, H, I. Now, why doesn't this work? So now we're saying that ABC ends up down there. DEF ends up here. Oh, I see. So what was... this is like that puzzle I did the other day. I did a puzzle the other day that had logic like this. I'm sure I did. Where there was like... where you could work out that there was a stripe here. Because what this is showing us, look, is that ABC equals GHI. And it also obviously equals itself. But if ABC equals GHI, DEF is odd by the secret. This is amazing. So ABC... because 2y equals ABC and 2y equals GHI, those 3 digits plus those 3 digits must add up to an even number. But in the box, but we know that our whole box adds up to an odd number. So now DE and F are adding up to an odd number. So, which we could have seen because we knew these were odd from the work we did earlier, and I've just worked out that those transpose to X. So, but now X, okay, X, and by the corollary of all this is Y, because we've not done anything in the rows that doesn't equally apply in the columns. We now know that X and Y are odd, and we knew that, so it's 7, 9, and 11. So 7, 9, and 11 are the options for D, E, and F. So X and Y are 9. X and Y are 9. I am going to state for the record that X and Y are 9. If you've worked out how to do that, well done. You might. I know a lot of you have done it quicker than I did, but if you haven't worked out how to do it, pause the video and have a think, and then you will see what I have just seen, and it's very pretty indeed. And the place to look, well, the place I was looking was here, but it equally applies there. So the way to do this is to note that because A, B, and C add up to 2y, and G, H, and I add up to 2y, what could we say about those 6 digits there? Well, they sum up to 4y. Now, 4y is divisible by 4. Now, if we make D, E, F equal to 7, then we know that the purple cells by maths, 45 minus 7 is 38. 38 is not divisible by 4. If we make it 9, we get 36. 36 is divisible by 4. And if we make it 11, well, then we get 34, and 34 is not divisible by 4 again. So the only number that works for X, and therefore for Y as well, is if we choose 9. So D, E, and F add up to 9, which means that each of, well, A, B, and C add up to 18, and G, H, and I add up to 18. But the same is all true down here as well. So now, well, now I'm not sure what to do. I'm almost tempted to start again. I'm actually tempted to start the puzzle. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to start the puzzle again, because what we've done is worked out that those 3 digits sum to 9, and these 3 digits sum to 9. Right, so we can at least do some pencil marking now, because the only numbers that can be used in 3 cells that add up to 9 are 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. And that's because if you try and put 7, 1, 2 together, you'll add up to 10. So we could do 6, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, or 2, 3, 4. And that means that row 2, column 2 is low. It's not, because the way to think about three cells in Sudoku that add up to 9 is to remember that 2 of the digits that add up, 2 of the digits in the sum are always from 1, 2, and 3, and the third digit is sort of the sticky out digit. It's the high digit in the sequence, and it's 4, 5, or 6. But if we try and make this 4, for example, we'd have to make that 2, 3, and that 2, 3, because we know each little triple is adding up to 9. If we try and put 5, that will have to be 1, 3, that will have to be 1, 3. If we try and put 6, that will have to be 1, 2, that will have to be 1, 2. So that doesn't work. So we've got to put 1, 2, or 3 in the middle. 7, 8, and 9 now have to be round the edge. And, right, and those digits add up to 18, I think, because we have got roping, haven't we? It's just not the roping you expect, because it's really strange, this. It's fascinating, because you've got 2x here and 2x here. You think I thought the roping originally was going to be like that, but it's not. It's like that. So in fact, once you know that that's an 18 sum, that's an 18 sum. And the corollary of that is that that is an 18 sum, and that is an 18 sum, and that is an 18 sum. Oh, and that can't be a 6, I've just noticed, because that would definitely, or a 3, that would definitely break this this 6 cage, wouldn't it? So that digit's 1, 2, 4, or 5. Oh, I remembered we had a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 5 cage, but not sure how we deal with that. Okay, right, what do I do now then? That's very, very cute. That's a classic Phistomefel. That is not a 3. Because if that was a 3, then those two digits have to add up to 6. Look, watch this. These two have to add up to 6, but we know those two have to add up to 6, and that is part of both of those sums, which is proving by maths that those two digits are the same number, and that won't work. So that means that this, right, so this middle digit here is a 1 or a 2, which, okay, well in the 6 cage, there's either a 1 or a 2, because it's either 1, 5 or 2, 4, so that digit is not 1 or 2. Okay, that can't be 5. That's in a 10 cage. Hang on a minute. Let me think about this. Okay, I think we might have to do some trial. Well, sort of trying to see how this looks. If that's a 1... this becomes 2, 4, which makes this a 2, which makes that a 6, which makes this a 3, 5 pair, which would actually know the order of, because we couldn't put 5 in here. So that is, so if this is 1, there is actually only one possible combination of those 6 cells, and that, well, and that would give us a 7 here. Right, what's wrong with that? What do the sides have to... oh, 18, didn't we? We'd have to have 18. So these two cells would be a 4, 8 pair. And those two cells would be a 7, 9 pair. And that looks like it works. Right, so I suspect that's correct. I don't know it's correct. The other option is that this is a 2. How does that change the world? This then becomes 1, 5. Right, and the 1 would have to... oh, that, right, that's weird. That is truly weird. I don't understand. It just makes me feel absolutely inadequate doing these puzzles. Because he does this every time with really... I mean, this is something that should just be... it just outfoxes you at every turn and makes you feel completely inept. But look, this is somehow or other a 1-2 pair. I don't know how I was meant to notice that, but it is true. And that's because once you make this a 2, this has to be 1, 5, but you can't put the 5 on the top, because then that would be a 2, because we know those 3 cells have to add up to 9. So if this was a 1, this was a 2, and if this is a 2, this is a 1. So this... well, I'm going to keep going with this just to see whether it breaks, but I do know this is a 1-2 pair, which means actually I can get rid of 1s and 2s from these squares altogether. So this is... now this is a 6 in this variation, which... oh, hang on, that was a 6 in the other yeah, that's always... because that's always 1, 2, that's always 6. Oh, that's so strange. Okay, but if that's 2 now, this is 3, 4. In the other variation, it was 3, 5. So there's always a 3 in one of those two squares. Okay, all right. So let's take a step back. We have learned that somehow or other this square is always a 6. Therefore, that square is not a 6. We have learned that this is always a 1-2 pair. So this is always a 4 or a 5. Ah, doesn't quite do anything. If this is a 1, this is 5, 3, very specifically. If it's 2, it's probably 3, 4 in either direction. That digit is now a 7 or a 6 by mathematics to make sure the domino adds up to 10. And presumably... Yeah, and we know that whatever goes in there, so right, so there is now a 3 in here by the ropey funny trick. Yes, we're going to be able to... Hang on. The 6. Where is the 6 by the roping? The 6 is not in there, so the 6 is in here. And therefore the 6 is in there, so the 6 isn't there. Oh, that's so ridiculous. How does he do this stuff? It's just so clever. I mean, look, we worked out that the roping is moving like this. I deleted it, which was foolish of me. It's working like this. So the moment you get this as a 6, you know that there's a 6 here and there's a 6 here. And that's looking at this, which is now a 7, which makes this a 3 by maths. My phone's going nuts. Now that's a 7, which is in green, so we get a 7 there, a 7 in one of those two cells. The 15 cage is now 6, 9, look. So that's not a 6, because it can't be 7, 8 anymore. Does this matter? We know those two squares have to add up to 12, don't they? So they're not 3, 9. So this is 4, 8 or 5, 7. It's not 5, 7. I don't believe it. Okay. Because we know the yellow adds up to 18, these two add up to 12. They can't be 3, 9. They can't be 5, 7 apparently. So the only thing they can be is 4, 8, and that means that square's a 5. It means that square's a 1. It means that square's a 2. Now, it probably means other things. So now we've got 7s and 9s here. So our roping is completely done. So we've got 2, 9 here, 2, 7, 9 over here, 4, 6s and 8s down here, and 5, 1, 3 into the purples. Let's get rid of all this. 6 and 9 can come out of that one. That one's not under any pressure. That's, oh, look. This is now 4. So this has become a 2, 3 pair. The 11 cage now needs a 1 in it in one of those two squares, because otherwise those two digits on their own would add up to 11. So the other digit is one of these digits. So that digit is a 2, 3 or a 4. Because we need another, the pair of cells in the 11 cage that's not 1 have to add up to 10. So it's either 2, 8, 3, 7 or 4, 6. And probably what we need to do now is to make sure that we put all of the roping into the columns. So we've got 1, 2, 6 here, which that's not a 2, or this is a 6. It's not a 2 or a 1. So that's a 6, which means that's not a 4, because this can't be a 4-6 pair in the 11 cage now. So that's a 2 or a 3. There's a 2 or a 3 here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Remember, we know we need those 3 to add up to 18, and those 3 to add up to 18. So I need these two to add up to 13, which is 4, 9. I was about to say there's no way of doing it, but there is a way of doing it. 4, 9. So that's 8. That's 7, and these should add up to 18, and they do. So we've got 8, 3, 7 there. Well, we need the 4s, the 5s, and the 9s to live together, don't we? This is going to be 3, 7, 8, which means these squares are 3, 7, 8. These squares are 4, 5, 9. This is not a 3. So there's sort of a virtual 178 triple here. Well, an actual 178 triple, because we know the digit that's accompanying the 2 or the 3 in this cage is a 7 or an 8 to give us the extra 10 that we need. So we've not put 5 and 9 into that. So that's a 5 by Sudoku because it sees that. That's a 9 by Sudoku. Gives us another digit or 2. This is not a 5 anymore. 6, 9. The 20 cage here must have... Yes, I see. This needs to... It's a bit like with the one here. This has to have an 8 in it. Because if it doesn't have an 8 in it, the maximum size of these digits is going to be 4 and 3. And then this is going to have to be a 13, which is too big. So there is an 8 in one of those, which means that square is now being determined. Get rid of that corner pencil. Actually, we can get rid of all the corner pencil marks, I think, apart from that one. That's still useful. So we've got 8 in here, and we need 2 more digits that add up to 12, which are not 4, 8. So we've either got 5, 7, which we haven't got, because 5 and 7 cannot go in either of those squares, or we've got 3 and 9. So we get a 9 here, and this is now a 3, 8 pair, which gives us a 1 at the top of the grid. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? It is just gorgeous. Now, this is a 2 by Sudoku. That's not a 2. The 9 is doing some work. 9 and 2 go in. 2 and 3 go in. 3 and 5 go in. Okay, so 5 is in one of those 3. 9 can't appear in the 29 cage, which probably means that's difficult now. What's the maximum we can make 5 digits add up to if we can't use 9? 876. 876 is 21, 26, 30. Right, so there is only... Right, that's forced. This cage has got to be 8, 7, 6, 5 and 3. We can't put the 4 in it because that would get us to 30, but we must have the 3. It's the only other way of making that work. Now, what's that done then? So there's no 3 in those cells by Sudoku, or that one actually. There's no 8 in these 2. There's no 5 in that one by Sudoku. 5 isn't there. Neither is 6 because of this. So this has come all the way down. It's tumbled down to 7 or 8. Which might be good if I can figure out why. Can I see anything good here? The answer seems to be no. We could... Okay, alright, I've seen one thing. 3 in that 29 cage is in those 2 cells, so that has become a 2. Which means that those squares are now 1 and 8, not 1 and 7. 1 and 8. We need things that add to 11. Okay, so that gets us a 7 over here. It means 8's not in those squares. So 8 in this box is now forced. We get an 8, we get an 8, we get a 6. So that's not able to be 6 anymore. This has become an 8 by Sudoku. This has become a 3. Now, this is so stupid. Now 3 goes here. It's the only place it can go in the 29 cage. We've got... that's a naked single. It's got to be a 1 because it can't be a 2 or a 6. So that's got to be a 2. 1 by Sudoku goes here. 1 by Sudoku goes in the 16 cage now, which needs 2 more digits that add to 15 and can't include 9. So they must be 7 and 8, and the 8 must live exactly there, which fixes the 8, fixes the 3, fixes an 8 up here. That 3 does the 3 and the 7. This is cracking, I think. This had to have a 7 in it, so that's got to be 7. That's got to be 1. That's a 5. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's a 2, 7, 9. These squares have got to be 4 and 7, which is done. 7 in the middle of the grid today. I've not been checking for 3s in corners. No, we're not going to get one today, I'm afraid. But we did get different REM, which is absolutely still marvellous. Okay, so what's going on now? We must have, I think we've nearly finished it. We could eliminate 5 from here. We can eliminate 9 from here. We can eliminate 1 from there. That digit, as I guess, known to us, that's got to be a 4. That still doesn't resolve this. So it's probably going to be this 12 cage where we have got to put into it 4. We've got 4, 5 and 6 into those digits, I think. So this digit is a 1, 2 or a 3. So it's 1 or 3. Ah! I'm sure that's done. 6 goes here. 3 goes here. So that is 4, 5 now, which puts 6 there. 6 there. 9, 9, 5. This is the 3. We get a 1, 5 pair there, which is not quite done. Okay, what about... Alright, let's try this row. 4, 7 and 9. Oh, that's a naked single. Sorry, I haven't been doing any Sudoku, and it's very kind of Phistomefel to hold off on making me do too much Sudoku until the very closing act of the puzzle. This has got to be, well, that's a naked single now. That's 9, that's 5, and that's 4. So if that's all correct, that's got to be a 7. 7 and 9 at the top. 9 goes here. This is a 1 by Sudoku, so that's a 1, that's a 5, that's a 1, that's an 8, that's an 8, that's a 4. 4 and 5 go into the grid. This column needs a 6 in it, which does this. What's going on? Does the 6 and the 2, and that's a 2 and a 5. And that is how to solve just a mesmerizing puzzle. It's just amazing. I think I was a bit fortunate at the start because I could see that, or it felt to me, I think I did this puzzle the other day that had a similar trick in it. Belsita, I think it was by, although I can't remember its name. It was the one that we did the Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones intro for, and that had I think it had equal sum lines, that one. But it was a similar type trick. It used black dots as the break-in. Whereas here, I'm just going to, actually, let me just duplicate the tab for a second. I just want to see if I can understand this break-in in a different way, because what we're saying is these are odd, so these are not the same. There is no roping there. Because it was quite weird the way that when we put the D's, E's and F's in here, it all broke in this box. I'm just trying to understand why it breaks. I'm not sure I'm going to get any further, actually. We knew that those had to go there. You run out of digits, in effect. That's the problem, isn't it? So if you go, we know that this cannot rope here. So 2y has those 6 digits are 5 different Sudoku. Oh, that's it. That's just so easy. Oh my goodness me. It's so simple. It's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. It's so simple once you see it. It's so simple. Right. The way to prove that there must be roping is exactly as I'm about to prove it to you now. Those digits, in order for there not to be any roping in these 3 rows, so we don't have any equivalences, then obviously these 3 squares cannot be the same as those 3 squares. So how many digits in common must there be between these 2 selections of digits? And the weird thing is that the answer to that is completely precisely known. And that's because those 3 digits, well, in this box, in order for there to be no roping, they can't go in those 3 squares. And if more than one of them went in those 3 squares, then all 3 of them would go in these 3 squares and there would be roping. So there's a maximum of 1 green in there, and then these 2 purples have to be different. In other words, those 6 cells contain 5 different digits. But that logic must apply between the x's as well, mustn't it? So if we make those, we say those 3 digits, we're trying to have no roping. So how many digits now are in common between those 3 cells and those 3 cells? Well, if we had more than 1 digit in common, we would have roping. So we can only have a maximum of 1 digit in common. We can't have roping here. If we make those 3 equal to x, then we've got roping again, haven't we? Which is going to force those to be the same, which we know we can't do. So there is a maximum of 1 blue digit in here, and the other 2 will have to be different. But now, in this, now I've got 10 different Sudoku digits is what I want to say. Maybe I don't think I can have 10 different digits. Because these all see each other, don't they? Maybe I can. Maybe I just feel that I've got to have 5 different digits in x. That's forced. And I've got to have 5 different digits in those cells as well. Yeah, that doesn't work, because when they all see each other. They all do see each other. That was the harder part for me to just justify in my head at the end there. I wasn't actually sure that was true, but it is true. It is true. Because whatever purple is, can you put purple in X anywhere? No. So whatever green is in any of these positions, obviously it can't repeat in any of these squares, and we know it's not, by definition, we've said it's not equal to purple. So the way to see this quickly is to realise that if you want to not have roping, you must have 10 different digits in the Sudoku, and there are only 9 different digits in a Sudoku. So that's how to do it elegantly, I think, and I'm sure many of you will have spotted that well, I only spotted it once I revisited it at the end. So I apologise if you've been shouting at me about that, but Phistomefel again, it's just ridiculous, because not only is that a beautiful idea, I mean, if you ever wanted to teach a child algebra, you know, this is the sort of thing that would just, you know, it would make any child, I think, who had an interest in mathematics but wasn't sure whether they were, you know, whether it was for them. You can feel the beauty of this. I can, at least. I just think that this sort of thing is just, it's so elegant. It really is. The power of the maths here is profound and truly interesting. For anybody who tells you that Sudoku is just a silly game where you fill in numbers, and show them a puzzle like this, and honestly, it is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, let me know how you got on in the comments. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.